I would go as far as to say that this is, without doubt, the best quality image that we have ever produced in a camera. This is way over and above anything that we've done before. So,
and I'm gonna go a step further and say the URSA Cine 17K is gonna be the best cinema camera ever made, and here's why. Resolution. As Grant Petty says, we're getting a similar size to 70mm 5x film, which allows finer details to be captured, resulting in sharper images with more clarity. Don't believe me? Hear it for yourself.
It's a similar size as a 70mm 5x film.
Now, even though we don't have the exact specs of the URSA Cine 17K, there is a camera out right now where I think we can get an idea of the potential we can have in our hands. I think you already know the camera I'm talking about, the Alexa 65. Look at these beautiful images this camera produces. Okay guys, I want to point your direction right here to the Alexa 65 spec sheet. And I want to take a look at a few things. The first thing I want to take a look at is a dynamic range here. The Alexa 65 is getting 14 stops at dynamic range. With the URSA 17K, we're going to be getting 16 stops of dynamic range. That's 2 more stops, which means we're going to see a little better in the highlights, a little better in the shadows. Second thing I want to take a look at is this right here. The resolution, the sensor resolution. It's a 6.5 resolution sensor on the Alexa 65. We're going to be getting, which I think is a 17K resolution that we're going to actually be able to see on the screen when we're recording. And even if we don't, even if we get the 12K or 8K resolution with that big 65mm sensor, that right there, my friends, is revolutionary. That is going to change the game. We're never going back from this again. This is going to be the new standard. There's nothing going to come close to this. I think what Blackmagic got on their hands is something that's going to kill everything. Yes, that's right, kill everything. The last thing I want to take a look at is this right here, the frame rates. At open gate, you can go 20 to 60. Now, remember, Grant Petty said that everything is the same as a new 12K Cine, except for the new sensor.
Well, this model doesn't have ND filters built in because the sensor's so large, the filters don't fit. Otherwise, the features are the same.
So if that's the case, that means we're going to be able to shoot at open gate 17K at 80 to 100 frames per second with that big 65mm sensor. That is insane. Do you guys know the magnitude of this? This is insane. But I wanted to just show you guys this real quick. Let me show you guys something else. Details and texture. With this new sensor, guys, we can be able to capture the textures and nuances of human skin that results in sharper images with greater clarity, allowing filmmakers to showcase intricate details in their character's skin, such as pores, wrinkles, and freckles. So like I said earlier, guys, we're using the Alexa 65 for something close of what we're getting. I personally think this is going to be better than Alexa 65, but this is what we're going to go off of what's here already. And if we see this still that I took from Shot Deck of the Joker, you see the crack in his forehead, the crack in his tooth, the veins in his hands. Look at the detail, guys. This is what we're going to be getting with that 17K camera. Also, here's another one of my favorite movies right here, Parasite. Look at her rosy cheeks, the pimples on her forehead, how perfectly lined up her eyebrows are, guys. Look at the details. Look at it, just look at it. Remember, it said the texture, the details, the fine details that we're gonna get with this big sensor, guys. Lastly, another one of my favorite movies here, If Beale Street Can Talk. Look at the red in his eyes, guys. Come on, look at this detail. The black beauty mark that he has on his cheek. The length of his eyelashes. Come Come on, guys. One other thing I want to do real quick is take a listen to what the DPs had to say about the Alexa 65 and the sensor.
The camera when I shot the old guard with the Alexa 65. And what I loved so much about it was the texture and the detail and the fall off. You just felt like you could reach out and touch them. It was so visceral.
The benefit of how the large format pulls in the background and you have this sort of present quality of your environment. You felt like you were embedded in it, you were there.
Just from my feeling, the larger format of the Alexa 65 is much closer to human perception, and also in terms of perspective, how the depth layers like foreground, middle ground, and background blend into each other.
Three-dimensional appearances. Guys, this new sensor we're getting from Blackmagic, that Graham Petty himself said that's similar to a 70mm 5x film. It's gonna allow us to have the objects in the foreground, midground, and background to appear more distinct and lifelike, enhancing the sense of depth and immersion for the viewers. Guys, you know what that means. If you don't, let me show you a couple of examples from Shot Deck. So as we can see here in this first example, the foreground is the guy on the left, the main character that's in focus. The second character that's out of focus is the midground. And then the background is the lights in the back and the wall, the blue wall. But look how immersive, look how intact. It looks like everything's right there. That's what that sensor is gonna do for us, guys. Look at the second example. On the right, the character's out of focus, that's the foreground. Then we have the midground of the character that is in focus, and then look at the background. The steps, the townhouses or the brick homes. Look at that. Look at that background. Everything looks like it's right there. Look at the clarity. Look at the immersion. Look at everything it said that we're gonna get. It's not lying, guys. We're going to get all of this and more. Remember, we're getting dynamic range with this. Open gate with this, guys. Oh my goodness, man. I'm over here about to pass out. You guys do not know how good we're about to have it. And for the fact that we can purchase this, guys. With ARRI Alexa, you have to rent it. You have to rent ARRI Alexa 65. You can't just buy it. Grant Petty is allowing us to go buy this at a store. You guys are not understanding. We're gonna be able to buy this at a store near us. All this great stuff for probably gonna be, I'm guessing now, maybe 20 to 25,000 we're gonna have to pay. And that's not bad for what this stuff is bringing us, guys. Trust me. By the way, guys, this shot right here is the moment I fell in love with 65mm film or digital film. This is when I knew I had to get some type of way to get my hands on Alexa 65. But guess what, guys? We are going to get it impossibly, which I think is going to be better than Alexa 65, and that is the URSA Cine 17K. I believe we're going to get a better camera than the Alexa 65. Yes, I'm saying it. Guys, look at the foreground. Look at the sign, the yellow sign in the foreground. Joker is in the midground. And look at this sexy background. Look at the composition. If I ever see Lawrence Sher, I'm going to give him a big hug. Because you have to be a genius to come up with this type of composition. Look how everything's lined up. You got the trash on the left and the right. You got the it's the symmetry on this is just perfect. The composition is immaculate. Oh my goodness. But this is when I fell in love with 65mm digital film right here. This is it. Once I seen Joker in the theater and I seen this one shot, I literally lost it. If you're a fan of film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're just a fan, if you're a cinematographer out there, you just know what I mean. There's just certain shots that just make you just jump for joy and cry and oh my goodness. And this is one of them for me. For creative composition. So guys, with this new sensor, we're gonna be able to have a perspective and spatial relationship by carefully framing and staging the shots. It can give the viewer a gaze and evoke a sense of depth and enhance the storytelling experience, guys. The things that we're gonna be able to do with this new sensor is be able to frame different things that we never even thought we could. We're gonna be able to see things bigger. We're gonna be able to see things wider, guys. More color, more depth, more immersion. One thing that I'm like I said, there's no specs yet, but the one thing that I'm trying to figure out is it gonna really be 17K, or is it gonna be an 8K or 12K resolution with that 65mm sensor? Because mind you, that 65mm sensor that Grant said is similar to the 70mm IMAX type of film, or 70mm 5x film. That alone, if you go on Google and look it up, that equals out to about 12K to about 18K. So I don't know if he means that resolution of IMAX with the sensor, or are we actually going to get 17K? That's the one part that I'm confused about. And if anybody knows, please leave it in the comments. If anybody, has more information, please. Like I said, I'm joining this because I want to make friends, talk to other cinematographers, other DPs, build relationships, make movies, make films, guys. Please like this video, subscribe, give me your thoughts, comment. Let's get this conversation going until we get this camera. I will let you know this right now. There is nothing that's gonna stop me from getting this camera. I am getting this camera. Thanks for watching.